Today, the first part, we consider some topics that related to UML is object modeling. Here I give you some overview and some diagram in UML 2.1 actually 2.10, a class diagram, use case diagram, sequence diagram, and activity diagram. First one is overview. Object-oriented modeling is based on a system of concepts that is existence and relationship of facts with a defined system boundary. Here is some keywords that is relationships of facts within. It means that it has its element is including a defined system boundary. The system concept is called the object-oriented boundary. Actually, it's based on the object. Object is keywords. Every aspect that's related to object is object-oriented modeling is stands for OOM. OOM is dependent of UML. Any object-oriented language just as C#, C++, Java, Smalltalk, and C#. Object-oriented paradigm is stable. Is the latest model. It has well understood and well documented where on related document. Nowadays, most of companies they use object-oriented paradigms to design a software structure. UML will also involving growing tool as tempting to address a growing and evolving industry of system development. As I said before, almost recent company use UML to software design. Here is the UML certificate that if you want you can take the exam. There is some course. It comes from fundamental, intermediate, and advanced. It helps you to take UML certificate. Here they present some topic and the way for each topic in this certificate. First, it has the first topic is class diagram and it takes about 30% in this course. Activity diagram 20%, interaction diagram 20%, and use case 20%, and finally basic notation just 10%. So all of this is 100% in this certificate. UML diagram. UML is stands for Unified Modeling Language. UML actually is a collection of diagrams that define the static and dynamic characteristics of program or system. Here we can see a UML. It's just a set of diagram for define some static and some dynamic of the program and system. It means that if you have program or system, you can define it by using UML. For example, it is for structure. Structure is static characteristics. It is class diagram, is business object and their structure. If you learn about object-oriented programming, you know it's in C#, you have class. This class is object, general object, and has structure is a property and functions. Composite structure is a nested contents of a structure classifier. It means that you have class A, and class A you define class A1, so it is a composite structure. Or in class D you have a property, for example a public. Class B, also name is B, it is structure, native structure. And component is means that it's a module and replace parts of the system. You have is a system, so you define some component here. For more easy, you have A and it connect to component B and component C, and all of these become our system. So you can replace by B for another component for this and this structure. Diagram for deployment is a map of software architecture using a physical system architecture. For example, if you learn about cloud computing, it has the library is the Google Kubernetes, and they define system as a component. Object is instance of class. It depicts the state of object at a point in a time. Package. This term is related to Java, or you can see it's the Android. They define program or actually is in Python. We have the package and import package. In C#, we have using package. Of this is one package is a collection of classes for formally a subsystem of a concept. In dynamic diagram, we have activity. Activity is look like the algorithm of flowchart. Interactions diagrams is depict the activity relations between objects. For example, in a sequence, is depend on the time. The time order inter-object message that accomplish a task. For example, if you want to want to register as on by a notebook. So the first steps in sequence is the register user, and next is the choose item, and last is order. So just example is the first time, second time, and third time is in the time order. Communication diagram, the message traffic message among class and class structure. In which we can send message for class A, we send a message for class B, this is a message central for user information or other information from class A sent to class B for some purpose. Interaction overview diagram is show high-level flow of control between interaction. Timing diagram is the real-time dependent object relationships. Dynamic diagram is a use case. Use case, if you take the course in software engineering, you have now that use case for collect the user requirements. It's including user, system interaction, and interface. All this in user diagram. The state machines, it shows the state proportions of process flow that can predictable conditions. For example, if you buy to make a transaction or withdraw money, and in state machine you can predict that your account will reduce some money. Here is on the UML diagram we will learn during this course. This is just overview. We have structure and dynamics, some diagram here and some here. Diagramming in UML 2.1 Act. Here is same. We have also in structure diagram. In previous slide is a UML 1.x. Next is 2.x. Some it will combine some diagram. In the structure, it has class component, composite component, deployment object package. Dynamics, it has activity, interaction, sequence, communication, interaction, timing, use case, and state machine. You can compare between UML 1.x and 2.x, some different. For example, almost the same. Some element of UML2. First is specification in graphical and textual. Graphical is show diagram and icon. to support for visualization, such as you can see from the software is star UML. Here we have class diagram and the rectangle here is a graphical and the text. Class 3, for example, is a user and it's the textual. The graphical is for visualization and textual is description of semantics of elements. Adornment is the addition to basis modeling element that highlights some important detail. Common divisions, a classifier and instant categorizations of model element. Interface and implements is separate how from the what. Extensibility mechanisms is means that the relationship, for example, is constraints is allowed to add a new rule to modeling system. Is stereotypes it allows adding new modeling element beyond UML. If you want to create a new diagram that it add new property, and UML profile is allowed to grouping the board of modeling templates. Template, it means that you have some common pattern, and the next time you don't need to create from beginning. You have the basic structure and just copy this pattern to a new one. So it's a modeling template. The term of U was with easy of U. In UML 1.x is developed to support modeling for analysis and design phase of software development. UML 2.0 is refinement of UML consistent with object modeling driven architecture philosophy that allow UML model to be input, transformed, and reconfigured automatically by modeling compiler. UML 2.0 it also has extensibility. It adds a new function by significant riser detail and complexity to the syntax and semantics of the modeling language. UML is a tool that artisan, technical, and builder is some user. Here is the article tech engineer, and builder. If we need to access the breadth and the width to files is the width and breadth. with for the task and normalize that the success among all the collaborators. They use UML to communicate each other. For example, if the artist A wants to communicate with artist B, they use the UML. Since it is the formal language. In UML, we had 13 diagrams, and 3 of them is the main focus. In this class, is a class diagram, interaction diagram, and use case diagram. Sorry, it's an activity diagram. The remaining diagram is the homework for you. We just consider 3 months class in the next following next groups. Okay, that is for today's lectures. I will post this slides to the LMS. In this today's lecture, you must know that in UML it is the language for modeling and device, and here you must know it has 13 diagrams. And we focus on our class. 3 diagram is class, activity, sequence, communication, and use case diagram. This is our class. The difference between UML 1.x and 2.x. 2.x is a more extendability and is used for communication between the users. Some element of UML2 is the overview of object-oriented modeling and UML.